It's time for Twist, the week in sports talk with your hosts Mike Reeves, Matt Benz, and Greg Green Bay Bowden. Coming live from the Minuteman Press studio, here's your hosts.
What up?
Episode 10.
Double digits.
On a brisk day in Minnesota.
But it's sunny.
It is sunny.
Beautiful.
I was just singing some Usher. It's 11 o'clock.
Hold on, before we go any further, Matt, show your drink. He's got a matching drink to match his hat, shoes, and shirt.
I wish you guys could see the shoes.
You might as well show him. Stand up. Give him a peek. Boom! Oh!
This is what I have to deal with.
Fresh.
No big deal when you're making that twist money.
Greg's got that nasty Badger shirt on next to me. We'll get to that soon. So we do have an exciting announcement. We have two awesome interviews lined up. We're going to get to those right away. We had a guy reach out to us who has an internet radio station, rtfsportsnetwork.com. rtfsportsnetwork.com. Starting Monday, Twist is going to be joining the website. So little internet radio. It'll have an iTunes and Spotify account. So we're super excited about that. So our first interview we're going to kick off the show with is with Joe Nelson. Used to be PA's parrot on KFAN, but then he went and took his talents to the .com with BringMeTheNews.com. So we're excited to give him a buzz and kick the show off. What's up, Mama Benz?
Mama Benz, joining the party.
Oh, it's a party.
Hello.
Joe, how are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good. You're live on Twist.
Nice. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Welcome to Twist Nation, man. How are you today?
I am living the dream. I'm just waiting for the snowstorm at this point.
No.
Yeah, 6 inches. That's nothing.
That's just a little flurry. We'll be all
Just
right.
a little shoveling.
Yeah,
A little broom. Take the broom out.
That's true.
So you got your start in 2004 in sports media that launched into a career with KFAN for, 7 years?
Man,
before
you did your research.
Yeah, before catching a ride on the digital boom with Bring Me the News.
Yeah, no, that's true. 2004, I was way down in Marshall, Minnesota, doing a little radio TV major, and had no idea what I wanted to do, but I knew I liked sports, and I knew I liked play-by-play. And that turned into a couple of part-time jobs in Marshall, one up in St. Cloud. And then I got lucky because I knew a guy and got a part-time job at the Fan in the Twin Cities, and eventually turned into a very low-paying full-time job. And really enjoyed that because you get great experience in radio. Going to the NFL Combine, went to the Super Bowl. I mean, there's a million things you do and get to experience that most sports fans don't. And that led into the digital boom, as you say. And now we're at Bring Me the News and loving life.
So we had Nordo on a few weeks back when we went live. Actually, Chuck Foreman was on the show as well. And I remember I'm a diehard K-Fan listener. I listen from, 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. basically every day. My job involves driving around, so I got K-Fan on constantly. And I remember when you left and Nordo came in, and I love Nordo now, but I was devastated. It was, I'm used to you for all this time, and then they bring in a new guy, new voice. It's like, who is this guy from Mankato?
Yeah, it's radio. You always hate it when somebody leaves, or you love it. I'm pretty sure you're the first person that said that. But Nordo's still there. It's a challenging job. It's I don't know what it pays these days, but you got to make sacrifices to live that life. There's no question about it. But like I said, the experiences you get, for example, I remember one day I was going to Ridgewater College, my very first semester of college before I went to Southwest State. And I was listening to PA in Dubay, and I called in and I was talking about, the Twins need to do what the White Sox are doing and get some power hitters and win with the home run. And PA said, box. And I immediately just started laughing like a school child on the air because I was so excited that I had gotten his attention. And there was just one of those little moments where PA was having some fun. And little do you know, you get to work for him for 7 years, you know, and that was an experience of a lifetime. I wouldn't trade that for anything. But yeah, no, it's when people come and go in radio all the time, and actually KFan is probably the one station that seems invincible to job cuts because they're so successful, and it's a testament to the work those guys put in.
Yeah, one thing that I really enjoyed, Mike and I were at one of the feasts 2 years ago, and we were sitting front row, so we got a chance to watch everything right up close. And what I really enjoyed, obviously the content is great, especially because it was a Packer Viking week, but watching PA do 3-4 different things at the exact same time while also talking on air. He's talking to someone in the background, he's, you know, hand motioning other people. I really got a kick out of like how multitasking it is to do that.
Yeah, I heard Nordo a few days ago say, because he's the spotter now for PA during Vikings games, which is what I used to do before I left, and that job entails pointing out how many yards a certain play is, or who makes the tackle, or who stripped the football, or who tipped the pass, or, you know, if there's a running back rotation or D-line rotation, letting PA know who's in the game so he's got a better idea and he can kind of forecast what his call is going to sound like. Well, he was telling me that PA was FaceTiming people in the middle of a call in the third quarter of a regular season game. So, and I believe it because I've seen it before. Yeah, you got to be able to multitask to do those jobs, and you got the headphones on, you got the music in the background, you've got what we call the button bar in front of you, and you got to be on that all the time just to make it sound like you're really paying attention. And then Nordo, the producer, might hit the talkback button, and he's talking in one of PA's ears, and the rest of the audio or the dialogue or the interview is coming in the other ear. So all the time watching the clock to make sure you hit your hard brakes and do all of that. So yes, it's definitely a bit of a choreographed dance.
That it is.
We're live with Joe Nelson with Bring Me the News right now. Was it a difficult jump to leave KFan, kind of a, you know, I know it's radio, but at the same time you explain, you know, the combine and, you know, being a big Rube and having a job like that has got to be any kid's dream come true, to go from that life to kind of the behind the scenes right in the article website. Was it difficult for you?
You know what? The one thing I look back and I joke about it, but I kind of regret it, is that if I were still at the Fan, I was coming up with Meat Sauce and AJ Mansour and a lot of these guys, and I look at their Twitter followers, and I look at mine, and mine's the same number it was when I left. Theirs have skyrocketed to like the 60, 70,000, and I'm thinking, man, if I would have stuck it out, I could have had this many followers, and that would help me in a lot of different ways. But, you know, it was more important at the time that I had to just find a job that paid better. I mean, to be real with you, very real with you, my first job, first full-time job, was $23,000 the first year, $25,000 the second year, 2-year contract back in 2008, 2009, right after the crash. So you think about, you can't make money. Well, after the first week I signed that contract, I got called into the boss's office, and he said they were legally not paying me enough money. So I got a $1,000 bonus on my next check to make it legal. I mean, but that's what I'm talking about. You got to make sacrifices unless you're one of the big time hosts and you can make some money. So I don't regret it. No, I love my life now. And I miss parts of the job. It was fun. It was exciting, but I can still do a lot of that now. And I get to kind of run my own life and be my own boss, which is really great.
Awesome.
Well, there's obviously big news. You and I chatted via text a few days ago when you wrote that article on BringMeTheNews.com right before the D'Angelo Russell trade. And it went through, and it's, you know, a whole makeshift team now. What are your thoughts on kind of the Wolves, you know, moving forward? Do you like, you know, the vision of Gerson Rosas?
Yeah, I do like the vision. I think the challenge is that they've created a roster that almost guaranteed is going to give up 110 a game, maybe more. I mean, there's nobody to play defense. There is no defense on that roster. D'Angelo Russell doesn't play defense. Malik Beasley's known as one of the worst defensive wings in the NBA. He can light it up just like Russell. Cat doesn't play defense. You lost Robert Covington, who's all NBA caliber defensive player. There's just nobody to defend the basket or the perimeter right now. And maybe Jake Layman changes things when he comes back after the All-Star break, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure you're going to win many games still rest of this season because they have to gel, learn the system, and play well together against some good competition. I wrote a story the other day saying the ultimate rock bottom for the Wolves, now even this holds true even after the Russell trade and the other trades, is that you could legit lose 20 in a row. Look at it this way. That would be rock bottom for the franchise. I think the franchise record losing streak is 18 games, and that's stretched between the end of one season and the start of another. I think the single-season franchise record is 15 or 16. They're at 13 entering tonight's game against Kawhi, Paul George, the Morris brother, who they just traded for, and the Clippers.
Yeah.
I got a feeling they're going to get beaten tonight. That's 14. Then they go to Red Hot Toronto on Monday. That sounds like 15. If you don't beat Charlotte next Wednesday night, look out. That's 16. And then you've got Denver, Boston, Dallas, and number 20? Oh, how ironic. Jimmy Butler in the Miami Heat. I'm telling you, it's the stuff of dreams that anybody in sports media would love to see kind of unfold. If you're a sports fan, that's your worst nightmare. If you're a Wolves fan, that's your worst nightmare. But I'm telling you, this team has a lot more offensive potential than it did 24 hours ago, 48 hours ago, 72 hours ago. But they're going to have to play some defense if they're going to beat any of these teams. That's just the reality of it. But I do like where they're going. They've created cap space. They've created a situation where they can go and upgrade those other parts of the team that are lacking this offseason through the draft and in free agency.
That's the big thing that right there, what you said at the end, was really just the appeal that the Timberwolves got by getting D'Lo. I mean, you go from having Andrew Wiggins and the Wolves roster that we have to shuffling the deck almost completely. You keep Okogie, you keep Culver, and you keep Cat. But other than that, you've got a whole bunch of people that are kind of wanted, but also a lot of the guys that we just got are up in the air. They have to earn a spot to stay here at the end of this season. So that's really awesome. What are your thoughts on the Evan Turner drama, really? I mean, what is up with the buyout, and how will that work either in our benefit or not in our benefit?
Well, I think it's going to happen. I saw Doogie from KSP, Darren Wolfson, Score North Radio. He reported yesterday, pretty late in the day, that Turner's still in town, and it sounds like the Wolves are trying to talk him down on the buyout number. He wants to play for a contender. Whether or not the Wolves have to pay the full buyout price or they can talk him down a little bit, it sounds like it's going to happen no matter what. I also heard Glenn Taylor, Wolves owner, with Doogie on his podcast on Wednesday night saying it's a possibility that he's bought out. And he wasn't at the press conference with the 4,000 other players that Chris Rosa's traded for.
Yeah.
So I would say all signs point to the buyout happening. It's just a matter of agreeing on a number. And he'll probably want that to happen sooner than later so he can catch on with a team that has a chance to win a title this year.
Okay.
For me, that's not a casual fan based on kind of what you said before. I could care less if we lose 20 in a row. At this point, we made the move to get D'Lo. It's not about this year. This year is about securing the best pick that we can get. I think
I'm with you.
I'm not a huge Jarrett Culver fan, but I know we drafted him kind of as a 1B because we missed out on the opportunity. But right at the beginning, Gerson, made a big trade in the draft. We're not used to this as Minnesota sports fans. I mean, I love, whether it blows up in his face or not, I love that he's going out. He's making moves in the draft. He's making moves, before the deadline. We'll see what a free agency period has with the Wolves. But right now it's not about this year. So if it's 20
right.
Keep losing. I hope D'Lo's injury just, you can sit out the rest. Why don't you and Carl, why don't you just go on vacation now? The rest of the team's not going to be here. You don't have to be buddy with them. Right. Maybe Beasley, but we're not keeping them. It's
this is a dead season, and in the best interest of the NBA draft and that 2020 pick, you want to lose as many games as possible to give yourself the best chance in the lottery. We all get that, and that's, you can call it tanky, you can call it what you want, but any diehard Wolves fan is going to want that to happen because that gives you the best chance to get an impact player in what's considered a pretty weak draft. Okay. So, that's just the reality of it. That's true. And back to Okogie and Culver, Yeah, I mean, Culver shoots bricks and Okogie can't shoot, but they're both tenacious. They both could be very good wing defenders in time. And I look to Gary Trent Jr., the former Apple Valley star, who was a mid-first round pick. He's with the Portland Trailblazers now. He had 16 points last night and was playing tenacious defense in a great game against the Utah Jazz. It's taken him a good 3 years to kind of get his finding in the NBA and develop into a player that can contribute to a winning team like Portland is. Portland is. They suck the first half of the season every year, and then they make it interesting the second half and scare somebody in the playoffs. Yeah. And that seems to be happening again. But, Okogie is still very young. Culver is extremely young, and I think both of their ceilings are, yet to be reached, obviously. So they're going to be big pieces of this team for the long term alongside Russell and Culver, or Towns.
And my last question on the Wolves for you here, Joe, is, out of all the people that we got besides D'Lo, is Beasley the other shining, we'll call him shining prospect that we got, or do you have a lot more hope in anybody else?
I have no hope in anyone else but Beasley. I do. Yeah, I really do. I'm not buying the Jared Vanderbilt scheme that everybody's talking about this. I'm like, come on, guys. This is Jared Vanderbilt we're talking about. Maybe he'll surprise us and fit in the system playing 6 minutes a night, but he doesn't look like he's going to be an impact player at any point in time. And that's what happens when you're the 44th pick in the draft or whatever he was. So, Juancho Hernan-Gomez, no, not seeing it. James Johnson, veteran presence, but at $16 million next year, I hope he opts out. I do not want him to opt in. He's a big deal because if he opts in, your salary cap spending goes from about $37 million to $21 million. Ooh. So you could have $37 million to spending in free agency. It's not a great free agency crop, but you can do a lot with $37 million, including re-sign Malik Beasley to a nice deal, and he's probably going to cost $15 million a year, right? So James Johnson's a critical piece of that. Otherwise, I think most of that free agency dollars is going to go to Malik Beasley, who, like I said, you probably want to have a shooting guard or small forward in this league who can play some good defense, but he can definitely light it up, and he's one of the most efficient scorers when he gets time. He's proven that over the last 2 years, and he's a tremendous spot-up three-point shooter. His spot-up threes this year, he's shooting like 40% compared to 37% overall, so they'll fill out a role for him that involves D. Russell or D'Lo, I should say, D. Russell. Who calls him that? D'Lo and Cat. Just finding him open for threes, and that's where he's at his most effective. But yeah, I do think he's a big part of the future as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it's exciting time. Why don't you tell us, to kind of wrap up here, just a little bit about Bring Me the News, your part in it, kind of the vision for the future, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah. So I own it with another guy named Adam Urin, and we are really doing really well. We took over 2 years ago after the Polad family and GoMN fired everybody, and they gave us this great opportunity to kind of take it over and inherit it, and it turned out to be a great thing to get fired. And now the website is kind of churning on all cylinders, and we did about 50 million page views in this last year, and we're on pace to do that or more again, and everything's really strong right now, but the future is very bright for Minnesota news, sports, and lifestyle coverage, and I really invite everybody to go check out our weather blog. I think we've found a way to utilize the National Weather Service without hiring a six-figure meteorologist, which is how you have to survive in this industry. We're a small team. Yeah. And put out some good content. So, and back to that winter storm today. It's coming.
Yeah. What's our forecast, Joe?
Well, any hour now, it's possible that the Twin Cities area could be put in a winter storm warning. I know that the bullseye looks to be maybe just south or could end up being right over the metro as this storm appears to be shifting north. But I'm not a qualified meteorologist, but I can read what the National Weather Service says, and that seems to be what's happening.
Well, thanks for coming on and being a guest, Joe. Hopefully you checked out the show before. Hopefully, we can bring you some news in some of our interviews from the past and the future. We'd love to make your website.
It sounds like you'll be doing that here in a week or two.
Awesome.
I'll be interested. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
All right. Yep. Bye-bye.
That was Joe Nelson, owner of BringMeTheNews.com. Man, that was fun.
That was awesome. And he got a new Twitter follower in this guy.
Yeah.
So there it is. It paid off.
So we appreciate that. Make sure to head to his website. Again, that's BringMeTheNews.com. Joe handles all the sports end of it and apparently some of the weather. And as of websites, make sure to go to RTFSportsNetwork.com, where your Twist fellas here will be on internet radio starting Monday. So we're looking forward to that.
Yes.
Big time.
Yeah. So our second guest is a former NFL running back who, yes, was a Badger, but was also part of Skull Nation. Michael Bennett.
Grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
So let's give him a buzz. Interview 2, Twist, episode 10.
Boom.
Hello.
Michael, you got Mike, Matt, and Greg here. You're live on Twist. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Great.
Doing awesome, man. Thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah, Greg
Well,
over
you
here.
know what, guys? I'm actually echoing, so let me try something here.
Sure.
Yeah, we hear you good on our end.
Hello.
Yeah. Does that sound better?
Okay, no, it's still just echoing. Like I can hear myself.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's see how we can do it. Let's see if we can.
Try again.
Does that sound
Okay.
any better? Can you still hear yourself? Try one more time here, Mike.
Okay,
Is that better?
I can still hear it, but it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, you're coming through great on this end. So,
Perfect.
Okay.
yeah, Greg's wearing a Badger polo right now, which is disgusting to me, but I think it's for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael, the funny thing is I grew up in Waukesha, Wisconsin, 2 years older than you, and played football against Tech freshman and sophomore year. I don't know if you would have played against my cousin, but my cousin's your age. So I've been following you. You know, I know that you were a big track star in high school, which is really funny. But once you got to Wisconsin, I know that you played with a bunch of guys I know. But it was really fun when Mike told me that you were coming on, because you were the reason why high school coaches in southeastern Wisconsin taught pursuit drills.
Sure.
Because no one could catch you in a straight line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was cool. I appreciate that. I really enjoyed my time there. Yeah.
So then I'm going to touch a little bit on, my first question has to do with your college, track especially. So what does it feel like when you're running a 4.1340? You've got to be feeling like you're moving pretty quick, I would assume. I will never know this feeling, but I just wanted to ask you.
Well, one of the things with me is just I grew up like running, chasing cars, chasing motorcycles, dogs, cats, whatever it was. And my grandfather told me, he said, you should go out for a running sport other than football. And I think with everything that was kind of going on as far as, football, track, and other sports, I didn't like it because it wasn't like a team sport. But when I won my first gold medal at like 6 years old,
Yeah.
that's what it does. That's what did it for me.
Yeah, no
Look,
participation.
No.
Yeah, so I could just go out, and what my grandfather always told me was everybody else is working for second place because you're going to win every race from there on out. So, yeah, so.
Yeah, as a junior in 97 at the state track meet, you set records in the 100-meter and 200-meter, then broke both records as a senior in 98. So that's,
yeah.
For an individual.
Well, I contribute all that, track work to my late great coach, Joe Sims, which is a big track guy in Wisconsin for the Milwaukee Striders. Coach Williams, which actually was my English teacher in high school. He just really saw something in me, and we was able to put some great track teams together.
What I remember about high school is, especially on the Channel 4 News, TMJ4, every Friday night, Saturday night would be like the high school sports section. And what I was Saturday night was amazing, because that's when you would have your track meets, is how much bigger you were than the people you were competing against. You had such a huge upper body for a track star that it was funny, because being a football player and having a dad who's a football coach, I followed you as a running back. But when they were talking about you as, the track star, like, you've got a massive upper body for a track star.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And then you go on to college. I was gonna say, then you go on to college and you're running with Ron Dane, and you guys are the Thunder and Lightning. That he's a bruiser, and then you're just out running everybody.
Yeah. Again, my high school football coach, I hated weights. It was boring to me. I would rather be out running sprint than in the gym lifting. But one of my linemen, Michael Porter and Leon Kendricks, was our fullback. Like, they would go in and lift, and I'm like, man, I need some muscles like that. So I started to take it a little serious my sophomore, junior year. And then once I got to Wisconsin, the weight room, it really looked like a horror movie for me, because I wasn't really into, really lifting weights. But, man, we lifted weights 24/7, worked out, and it became, an addiction for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
So being, the top-rated football player in Wisconsin, you were an all-state selection, ended up being the 27th overall pick to the Minnesota Vikings in 2001. Obviously you were highly, touted in high school. To me, you go to a big school like Wisconsin. Oh, I don't even like saying something like that.
Love it.
But then being a first-round pick, what was that experience like for you, to have finally made it?
Well, I look at it this way. It was a childhood dream come true for me. My uncle Tony Bennett, that played for the Packers, he was their first-round draft pick in '90. So growing up, being able to watch him, I had another uncle, my Uncle Charles, played for the Dolphins, Bears, and the Cowboys, but he retired as a Dolphin. His career wasn't that long, but football was just in my blood. And my coach in high school told me one day, he said, "Kid, you have a bright future." And so I always, walked around. I'll tell you the story. I was a class clown my freshman year. It was this show called Def Comedy Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I would stay up all night. I could recite every joke better than I could do my homework. And so I would get to school Monday, and I would just unleash fury on every class that I had with those jokes. And so, Lord, I came to our school. I'm thinking who was Lou Holtz, and I can't remember who the Nebraska coach was at that time. And then Lloyd Carr from Michigan. So I was a big Florida State fan. Yeah, Florida State, I'm going there. And so I get word that one of the coaches, I think Bobby Bowden was in the building coming to, check us out. So I'm like, okay, whatever. My desk is in the hallway. I'm making jokes still. And this is just how young-minded I was at the time, because I knew of Bobby Bowden, but never could picture his face.
Yeah.
So he's walking around the building, comes to my classroom, and I'm out making jokes. And I'm like, well, who is this old guy right here with these glasses on? And my coach goes, he's like, well, here's the idiot that you're looking for right here.
Oh, funny.
I look, and I go, he's going, well, Michael, do you know who this is? I know. So, old guy with glasses? I don't know. And he goes, no, son, I'm Bobby Bowden. I'm the head coach of the Florida State Seminoles. And I'm like, oh, come on, this got to be some joke, right? And he looked at me and he said, with an attitude like this, you would never, ever play football for me.
Oh, wow.
And at that point, I realized who he was, and that crushed me so bad. Let's just say the next 3 years of my high school career, and I thanked him for that. My ego.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's what it takes, is a little, humility to kind of grow from it, and obviously turned you around and made you, who you are today. And, how have you kind of grown through, this journey called life, through all the trials and, tribulations that you've gone through?
Well, I've grown up, from leaving high school to being a part of one of the, the tradition, the Wisconsin Badgers. I always thank Coach Alvarez, because he really epitomized coaching for me. A guy that's a leader, that's for his program, and the kids love him. And he has a great philosophy in coaching. And if I could, if I ever decided to go into coaching one day, his philosophy is the philosophy that I wanted. And it was able to get me through college and propel me, throughout my life. And those are life lessons that you take with you forever, And starting my career out in Minnesota, being a Packer fan was hard.
Tell me about it.
It was hard, because I'm like, growing up, when my uncle played with the Packers, I got a chance to be around Brett Favre, Edgar Bennett, Bryce Poppin, those guys, Leroy Butler. So they became like, uncles to me.
Sure.
And to get drafted by the Vikings, and I'm like, well, holy crap, you mean I got to play my favorite team twice a year? So I really, emotionally, I wasn't really ready for that, but just taking those life lessons that I learned from those guys, it was able to get me throughout my career. My 5 years in Minnesota, which I felt, was a decent career. And then I hit the injury bug, and then I started going from team to team to team to team. And, I lasted 11 years, but had some wonderful years in playing football. And then there comes that, dark side when you're done playing. I was suicidal. I got really dark, because you do something all your life, from 5 years old till, 35 years old, and then it stops. And I can remember times going into the Raiders parking lot and just sitting there like, why the hell am I not in there? I mean, what's wrong with me? You start asking yourself all these questions, and you just go into a mental dark spiral. And I think I know that's what happened to me. Because, I was sitting in a parking lot at one time with a gun in my head, because, damn, I can't play football
Wow.
So it was hard, but, you know, I'm thankful for the things that I went through, the people that I've had around me, to just really, you know, just put their angels around me and get me through the dark times. Because, I mean, hell, you look at it, it's like, okay, well, you know, you make all this money, you do this and you do that, but you're still not happy at the end of the day. And there were a lot of demons that I was dealing with growing up from childhood till now. And as of May or June of last year, I've really just been able to talk about it, and it's helped me, you know, throughout my life. Well, you know, it has really helped me grow, mature, understand, and know that I can talk to people about my issues.
Yeah, definitely. And not only that, but by you talking to others, you know, you're giving them hope with your story, because your story does carry a lot of weight, because there are other people going through the same things that you're going through. It might not be exactly the same, but very similar. And that's really key. So it's awesome that you get to share a little bit of that with us. How has it been moving forward? You know, you said you were hit with the injury bug a lot towards the end of your career. What types of things, you know, mentally, physically, are you dealing with today?
Oh, man. I mean, as far as getting out of bed, that's still hard. You know, being around a lot of people, you know, the anxiety. And, you know, football was my outlet because of the burdens that I carried from as a child. You know, and I don't mind sharing with you guys, because the more I'm able to talk about it, the better I feel.
Definitely.
But, you know, growing up, being, you know, physically abused, beat, you know, watching my mom, you know, when I was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you know, fighting off my stepdad because he was abusing my mom so much. So I would take the beating just so she can get away with it, you know. I was put in dog kennels. I was chained to trees. So, you know, all of that scarring would it just built up on you. And once, you know, when you're playing football like this, you're taught not to cry. You're taught, you know, tough it up. Big boys don't cry. You're a football player. You know, you have to be tough, and you have to have a tough mind. So we were programmed not to say anything. And dealing with that, and then you go through high school, and then, you know, there was a transition there where my mom was, you know, on drugs, and I had to, you know, take care of the household by myself at 14, 15, 16 years old. And you lose a lot of your childhood, and there's still a lot of deep pain that I carry. And you get to a point where you think, you know, you're playing football, and whoever or whatever, I was looking for pain because I needed something to take that other burden that I was dealing with off. And so throughout those years, I was playing for pain. I wanted to be in pain to be able to take the things that I was dealing with psychologically, mentally off. So now you fast forward to now, I'm still dealing with like a lot of, you know, anxiety. I'm dealing with like a lot of headaches. I don't like being around a lot of people. You know, the violent outbreaks. Let me see what else. You know, the lack of, you know, I'm still dealing with depression, physically. You know, it's tough, you know, from a guy that could be a workout warrior. I could go to the gym 5 times a day, lift weights, run, train, you know, and I'm barely getting there twice a week just to get in the swimming pool to, you know, take care of my aches and pains.
Yeah, I know, you know, CTE is obviously a huge 3-letter word in the news. We all know about it. And you've experienced quite a few side effects. I know you've been open on it on Instagram, and, you know, your head hooked up to all the cords and talking about, you know, blurred vision and memory loss. And, you know, so there is this other side of playing football, the game that, you know, I grew up playing. You know, we grew up playing, obviously not at the level of you, you know, but kind of the after effects. We had Chuck Foreman on the show, who is obviously
Oh, wow.
you know, before you know, probably about a month ago. And he was very open with us about, I believe it was like $23,500 a year they get for their, for the players' pension. Whereas in other sports, it's, you know, more of a six figures. So the NFL really, you know, beats you up and takes advantage of your body, and then is offering kind of chump change as of, you know, here you go, kind of turning the other cheek as far as
Yeah, and that sucks for those guys because, you know, when they played, most of those guys had two jobs.
Yeah.
And the money, you know, is substantially way greater than it was now. But at the same time, you look at baseball, you look at football. I mean, baseball and basketball, and I think maybe one other sport is soccer. But all of their money is guaranteed. Their pensions, from what Mr. Foreman is getting, you know, you got guys like, let's just say, because I think that was around like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and that time as far as guys for basketball, and they're getting 60.
Yeah.
And they played way back then. Like the NFL, it's glorified. It's the world's greatest sport. But when you're done, it's just like, I mean, you know, they chew you up and then they spit you out. And then they sit around and say, oh, well, we have all these benefits. We have everything for you guys, which that's just, what do you call it? Just window dressing.
Yeah.
Basically. There's help, but at the end of the day, as far as getting the guys what they need off the field later on in their career is an afterthought.
Yeah, that's really sad. I know hopefully they can clean that up. You have 3 sons, right, Michael?
Yes, 3 sons and a daughter.
3 sons. So would you, you know, after you're, you know, it's all said and done, you're sitting here right now, your son say, Dad, I want to play football, knowing what you know, knowing how you feel, do you, you know, try and lean them towards soccer, or do you, you know, say, go for your passion? You have a family full of people that have played in the NFL, and I assume, you know, your sons have that good gene. You know, is that something that you push them to do, or?
Oh, they have it, but the thing is, I only have one that just loves it. He's like this, Daddy, I'm going to break every record you have. And that's my youngest son. And he works for it. But my older, they don't even care about it. They don't even really know teams. They don't even want to have nothing to do with it. So I'm not going to force them. I'm not going to push them. You know, as a musician, and then my oldest son, well, you know, he's has autism, so he does his thing with numbers, music, Rubik's Cube, designs, and stuff like that. But my youngest son, if anybody, he's going to be the one. But I'm not going to push him.
Yeah, I would think, you know, being obviously a son and a father, you know, if I kind of grew up seeing my dad, you know, on the TV and an NFL player, but then now where the repercussions, you know, of playing that sport, like you said, the times you're getting in the gym are to kind of just rehab from the aches and pains, you know, that you're dealing with on a daily basis. So I would be hard pressed as a son seeing his father to be like, I see all kind of the fame and glory and fun, but look at what the outcome of all that is. Right.
Yeah, and it's a serious outcome. You know, when a doctor say, oh man, you're bone on bone on your knees, you know, your back is screwed up, along with your shoulders, your wrist pops out of place, you really can't squeeze a ball, you can't, it's just a lot, but at the end of the day, it's the price you pay for it.
Yeah.
If I could tell anyone, start their kids in flag football all the way up to once they get to high school. Because I think the earlier, like, I mean, I took a beating early on because I was playing football at 5, but, you know, playing for 2 different teams for 2 different leagues because it was an addiction for me. I wanted to play.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so as I got older, you know, you can only play for this team, that team, but, you know, I took it real serious. And I always get this question asked of me, would you play again? Or if you could do it all over again, would you still play? And I tell them, yeah. Like, it's the ultimate competitive sport to me. You know, I could go into boxing, but hey, I don't want to get hit in the face. I don't want to have, well, I could go wrestle, but, you know, they get the cauliflower ear. I don't want stuff like that, you know? Yeah. Or, you know what? And I could have went and done my track career, which I know would have been very promising, but, you know, football is just the ultimate sport to me, because it takes all 11 guys to be able to methodically get the ball up and down the field. And that was really what I wanted. You know, basketball is easy. If you're Steph Curry or someone like that, you can just go down and shoot. But football, you need all 11 guys on the same page to get the plays done.
Yeah, and you hear that from, I think, most of the athletes. They see in the news with, you know, what's his name, Aaron Hernandez and Junior Seau and some of these big high-profile deals that they like to put the CTE word into. But most of them, you know, it is an addiction. It's something that they just love doing. They're passionate about doing it. They're good enough to play it at the highest level, and they're going to take the risk of whatever that outcome is to play what they, you know, enjoy and love doing.
Yeah, you're right. And I think what the NFL needs to do is just continually have, you know, the former player seminars. Like, you know, we don't want, like, to feel like, oh, pity or for us, but educate these guys on the life during football and after football more.
Sure.
And as far as giving them, like, the healthcare is the biggest thing that there is. Because since I've been done, luckily I have a few doctors that, you know, has dealt with NFL players before, so they understand. But if you go to a regular family practitioner and you telling them this hurt, that hurt, and you asking them why, it's like, oh, well, I played football forever, and it's like, well, you play pro football? And I'm like, yeah, well, what is this, what is that? And they have no idea, because they've never worked on people with the severity of the injuries and the things that we have. So you always have to go to, like, a sports specialist or somebody like that.
Sure.
Yeah, the NFL is definitely lacking on, you know, the after part, whether it's the pension, whether it's taking care of you guys. I think it's absolute, you know, being a fraud when Antonio Brown last year, they're trying to fine him because he's got a year-old helmet. It's not about the helmets. It's about the care after and making these new rookies and people come in, you know, just aware of what's going on. It's not trying to shut the door and hide it. You know, it's shining a light on the effects that it actually has on these players and giving them the option, because most people will push through and play. And we've even seen as of late, some people play, you know, 8 years, and it's like, look, I made my money, I'm healthy, I'm out, you know, but that's their option to do that.
Sure, but then you flip it over and you look at, like, players in the NBA and how they're starting to do load management and things of that nature, and, like, how they want they're looking at long term rather than just the short term glitz and glam, which it's harder to do in football. You have less games, things of that nature. But, you know, they don't prep these guys. We had Frank Ragnow, who's a starting center for the Lions, and, you know, him coming up, when he got his agent was hard-pressed on financial stability in the future. He said, if you follow these suggestions that I have for you now, and you don't go out and buy the Bugatti, and you don't go out and buy everybody and your extended family a house, you know, you're going to be set up, and your kids' kids will be set up. And that's something that they don't really press, because they think they're going to have this money for the rest of their lives. And we all know that money goes very quickly. You know, so
it does, especially once you're done, because those checks stop coming in, and the bills continue to go because you have to live.
Right.
And they'll have the seminar once a year, which tells you how to, you know, do this and do that. But, you know, when you're a 23-year-old kid, you don't want to hear that.
No,
you want to hear, you don't want to be sitting in a meeting for 2 hours learning about what you should do, and you just got $30-40 million in the bank. You want to go out, you want to have fun, you want to enjoy it, and go from there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
Well, I appreciate you being, honest and forward with us. This has been a great interview.
Yes.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do appreciate it. Not only that, but we hope to have you on in the future and keep updating us, with things that you're
please
got
do,
going
guys.
on, man,
Please do.
we appreciate you're a part of the Twist family now, and once again, I hope you can share this on the platforms that you have. We'll be going viral with it everywhere, basically. So if you follow us anywhere, be sure to mention us, and we'll be sure to mention you. Okay.
Definitely, guys, and I appreciate it. And like I said, if I can ever, get on again, if I'm ever in the area, you guys in the Twin Cities, right?
Yep.
Okay, so if I'm pretty sure, because I've been invited to come out there for a few of the biking games and appearances and stuff like that. So I would love to come in the studio or wherever you guys are. I'll keep you posted.
Absolutely.
Log my number in, and if you guys ever need me, I'm here.
Appreciate it. I wanted to say a buddy of mine who I went to high school with, you and I chatted about the Blue Hummer high school game.
Yeah.
Unk with the dice and the 3 cards from Apple Valley says hello.
Yes. How is he doing?
He's good, man. I'm good friends with his son, Lil Larry, who's big.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I'll give you one story. So Dante Culpepper took me down to a store. It was in Minneapolis at the time. I think it was called Twins because it was 2 Asian guys that owned it. And he had the dice in there. And so he let me win like the first hand. Like I saw it. And then you know how he the shark was, so I bid. I won 3 times. Then he took it up to like $3,000. Now this was my rookie mistake. I'm like, okay, I got this. So I bet $3,000, and let's just say he walked off with my money, and I'm like, wow, how did that happen?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man. Well, we appreciate it once again, Michael, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and God bless. All right.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, take care. Thanks.
Awesome.
All right, for the people who maybe logged in late, or if you're looking for an episode to share, one of the things when Mike started to get people to come in and do interviews, we never knew what to expect. Fun stories, whatever the case is, for him to get as in-depth into what his life has become is worth sharing with everybody you know.
Yeah.
I'm shaking. I'm so inspired right now.
I know. That was unbelievable. Obviously, our first interview with Joe, as far as sports, he's extremely knowledgeable. That was fun. And Michael just being able to open up and share, it's hard for people sometimes, and to be able to do it on it. We're not this massive radio platform by any means, but to talk to anybody about stuff like that is remarkable. And I knew before the interview he would open up about some stuff, had no idea kind of where it would go. And what an episode. This has been awesome.
It was fun starting off with the lighthearted stuff about his, growing up and all that. But then when he got into the real meat and potatoes of what his life is, it was inspiring. I mean, just to know that people of all walks of life deal with depression, anxiety, and he referred to football as an addiction.
Yeah.
And how you're just able to then move on with life. So it was powerful.
Yeah, yes, suicidal and So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna kick off with some headlines. So with this, for people again tuning in, we're gonna be on some internet radio, rtfsportsnetwork.com.
The network of champions, baby.
The network of champions. So our time slot there is going to be Mondays for an hour. So I think we're probably going to go a little over an hour on our show. But for the radio portion of it, when we hit noon, I'm hitting the music, and then we'll keep going. So just for you to be aware.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So headlines for the week, guys. Today is February 8th, 2020. Our first headline of the day is Minnesota Golden Gophers basketball team beats Wisconsin 70-52.
That's a headline.
Woo! That's a headline.
That's a
In a
headline.
season with a number of close losses, the Gophers didn't leave Wednesday's border battle to chance. Minnesota ended a 2-game losing streak and a 4-game home losing streak to the Wisconsin Badgers, never trailing and leading by as many as 22 on the way to a 70-52 throttling at Williams Arena. That is quoted by Matthew Goldstein from BringMeTheNews.
Next
There it
headline.
is.
Next headline.
Next headline.
Well, we had to make that a headline, Greg. Look at your shirt.
Now, let me mention the
Give me a
Gophers do
break.
play at 3 p.m. today against number 22 ranked Penn State. So, Sky Umont. Second headline, Wolves trade Andrew Wiggins and picks for D'Lo and others. How, baby? ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski says the Wolves are sending Wiggins a 2021 protected first-round pick and a 2021 second-round pick to the Warriors. Minnesota also receives guard Jacob Evans and forward Amari Spellman. Other than that, I mean, Russ is a 6'4" lefty, is averaging 23.6 points and 6.7 assists this season while shooting a career best 37.4% from three. Let's see here. Cat's best buddy. If you didn't see the clip of him getting off the plane and Cat giving him a big hug and giving him his jersey, even though Mike's favorite number, the coat, but Mike's favorite number is 0 for those of you that don't know.
Bronny.
There you go. So other than that, we're happy to have these guys, and we're happy to get rid of some trashy contracts, in my opinion. Number 3. Drummond traded to Cleveland for a bag of chips and a few souvenir cups. Because of Drummond's contract status, the Pistons didn't get a huge haul in return, with Cleveland sending them John Henson, Brandon Knight, and a second-round draft pick in 2023.
That's going to be a good draft, though.
Drummond is
2023.
Yeah.
Drummond is 26.
That might be Bronny, or he might be 24.
Drummond is 26 and is averaging a career best 17.8 points to go with his 15.8 rebounds per game. He'll be a free agent after the season. Yeah.
Oh, he's leaving.
Well,
yeah,
We'll get into that with the twist.
Yeah, sure. Fourth headline for today and the last headline for today. Pete Rose uses the Houston drama and cheating scandal to ask for reinstatement. Pete Rose asked Commissioner Rob Manfred on Wednesday morning to remove his name from the Major League Baseball's ineligible list, which would allow the all-time hits leader to be considered for induction into the Hall of Fame. In a petition sent to the MLB Commissioner office and obtained by ESPN, Rose and his lawyers argue that Manfred has recently opted not to punish players guilty of major game-changing rules infractions, and as a result should end Rose's 30-and-a-half-year ban for gambling on baseball while he was managing the Cincinnati Reds. Woo!
What a joke.
I don't know how that will go. It's unfortunate that the players nowadays aren't being as punished because then you wouldn't have as much of this crap, but that's that. So those are my headlines for the week, and I appreciate it.
Great job.
Beautiful. Thing.
Well, last Sunday, I was watching TV while eating soup out of a bowl.
Yeah, the Soup Bowl.
The Soup Bowl.
The Soup Bowl.
So let's get into that here real quick. So we all called it the Chiefs. I think you two called the over though.
Yeah. It was.
And I called the under.
Okay. You want to hear some? Since you're talking about gambling.
Where's my belt?
Okay, since you're talking about gambling, this is hilarious. So there's prop bets on the Super Bowl. You can bet on, how many rushing yards this guy has. How many?
What color Patrick Mahomes' shoelaces will be.
Sure, everything.
You can guess how long the national anthem is.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes over under for the amount of rushing yards he would have was going to be 29.5.
Sure.
He was at 31 rushing yards before that last drive.
Yeah.
Well, what did he do on the last drive? He stalled time and would run backwards.
Yep.
The weirdest kneeing I've ever seen.
Bottom line is he went way beyond it. Vegas actually took that off the board and everyone got refunded their money.
At some places. At some sports books.
Yeah. That did that because it's just, they would have been the world's biggest bad beat ever because you can't do that. I mean, a sack is considered negative rushing yards for a quarterback. Right. I get that. But he was intentionally running backwards, which I thought was just hilarious. Yes. But it was something it's a prop bet. There's a max amount of money you can lose on it. It's not like people are, putting their mortgage on it. But those are fun things people do. But I just thought that was funny how he was.
Well, and if he would have taken probably just normal kneel downs too,
he would have still been good.
Yeah. But he's, jig-jagging, and which is the right
right thing to do at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Super Bowl or the halftime show?
The halftime show.
What do you think about that? A lot of controversy, let me tell you.
You know, I
got
never
about
thought-
10 seconds to tell me before
I haven't been to a strip club since
That
1999.
halftime show should have been sponsored by Ballpark because there was buns everywhere. Let's just go with that.
For the radio internet segment of the show, this has been episode 10 of Twist. We'll see you next week.
Thanks a lot.
For everybody else, we're still going live.
We're here.
We're still here.
Weird.
All right. So Super Bowl stuff, I got some stats.
All right.
Like always. Jimmy G. Yikes. 20 for 31.
He's a handsome man, isn't he?
God.
On a
It's
scale
unfair.
on the scale from 1 to Greg, he's like an 8.
Oh, good Lord. He's got a porn star girlfriend, too. I bet you he's got,
I don't know.
I bet you he's got
Are
a
they
really
really?
big hand.
No, I think they just hung out.
Okay.
Anyway.
Anyways, all right. He went 20 for 31, 219 yards passing, 1 TD, 2 picks.
Actually threw.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, 5 receptions, 39 yards, 3 rushes for 53 yards. Dude's going to be a beast.
Yes, he is.
He's a beast.
He's good.
Then you got Patty Mahomes, MVP, regular season MVP, Super Bowl season MVP, shattering records, killing the game, 26 for 42, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not his best game.
No.
Not an usual MVP Super Bowl game.
Damian Williams should have probably had it.
Yeah.
Sure. Still got himself his first ring. Congratulations there. Damian Williams, 17 rushes, 104 yards, 1 TD rushing, 1 TD receiving. Yeah. And then Tyreek, 9 receptions, 105 yards.
Quiet 105, too.
Quiet 105
Besides for that
yards.
one.
I was gonna say there's one that was
3rd and
50, 50-yard reception.
Sure.
That'll bump your numbers.
Yep. So that's that. That's what I got.
It was a fun game. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a huge football guy. We all are. The interesting thing, great players come up in great moments. And Pat Mahomes had 3 quarters of nothing.
Sure.
And fourth quarter took over. I mean, looked like Pat Mahomes. I don't know. I thought it was over. I was pissed.
Yeah, and I was on Twitter, where most of the people I follow on Twitter are sports writers, sports reporters. And it was funny because the vibe the entire game was, when is it going to happen? Not if Pat Mahomes comes and does something great, it's when.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then as the game went on and you're into the third quarter and it's late in the third quarter and you start the fourth quarter, it's like, well, he's run out of time. Does he realize that this game's only 4 quarters? Because he's got to do something here. And then boom. And then, then when Williams had the run at the end to really seal it, it's like, okay, now this is over. But
Sure.
for some reason, I just never thought they weren't going to win.
Sure.
I never thought they were going to win by 11 as the way the game was going. I thought it was going to be a lot closer as the game went on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it really seemed like they always had it under control. And Andy Reid never looked like he was out of sorts, which everyone
I
was
agree
worried
with
about.
The big thing, I mean, you saw Shanahan's play calling at the end, and it's like that in of itself. You're throwing the ball when you could have ran it, and it is what it is. Dude's gonna have a great career as a coach, but that's the thing, it's just the Chiefs were constantly trailing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But yet they still have the magic to come back. And that's what you get with that high-powered offense and your defense playing better at the end of the year when they needed to.
Yeah.
When you get hot towards the end of the year, that's just like even in March Madness. It's like the teams that are playing hot in the conference championships, those are the teams that carry it through. You want to finish strong, and they did. So,
Yeah.
Cool. I got a text from Michael Bennett, who was our guest here. Just wanted to thank you guys for having me on the show. I had fun. I wish we could have talked a lot more to get into a lot more details.
Oof.
Thanks again, and I look forward to talking to you guys very soon. Keep up the good work. Great guy, humility.
Great guy.
Yeah.
And we will have him on again. That was a longer interview. Both interviews took up 45 minutes of the show, which typically doesn't happen. But if it does, bring it on.
Yeah.
That means they're great interviews, and they were. So we will have them on, and we will get into some more detail.
Absolutely.
So the Chiefs win, and we win.
The Patriots don't.
Yeah, Patriots don't. That's all that really matters.
Put your hands together for the twist topics of the week.
Twist topic number 1.
Numero uno.
XFL leaders, new star power at quarterback would be pivotal to the league's success, and Cardale Jones certainly provides that. He will forever be a legend at Ohio State after leading the Buckeyes to a national championship as a freshman. The XFL does start today. Does he have what it takes to lead the XFL?
I think it's going to be a guy like Landry Jones. It's going to be a quarterback. I think the fascinating thing about the XFL is they are really giving the fans all access. So what the difference between the NFL and the XFL is, the NFL, it's what are you doing on the field? Pat Mahomes is the type of guy who just plays a different brand of football, sidearm passes, things like that, that really make people interested in him. Whereas it's going to be someone with a personality.
Sure.
And I don't
hate me.
Yeah, I don't think that Cardale Jones is the type of guy who just has that personality where he's going to give you those one-liners on the sideline. I'm not saying Landry Jones is, but I think Landry Jones is the type of guy who's more ready for something like that. He's going to be more prepared, I think, to want to be the face. So
Okay. Yeah. I think it's going to be tough, man. I hope that it pans out as an offense-heavy XFL, which is that's what they're saying with the shorter play clocks. It's all going to be about offense, and it's going to be fast-moving, and I think that will benefit the QBs in the end. But also, I mean, who are these guys throwing to? What is the coaching schemes, things of that nature. I mean, it's going to be really dependent on the talent that you bring, because it's not just a bunch of bums that are coming in here, which everybody, myself, I feel like it might be. I mean, look at, what was it, the AFL?
Whatever.
A squared L. Yeah, and all these other leagues. It's not the NFL, and you got to really lower my expectations in what it's going to be. It's not going to be the NFL.
They were getting people. The difference is in the XFL, in my opinion, isn't going to be led by one player. It's led by Vince McMahon, and the difference between the XFL and the other leagues is money.
Right.
And he has the money. He's came out and said that, I'm going to put up whatever it takes for 3 years until we get a TV deal. And that's it's kind of like the big three with Ice Cube. They were losing and losing and losing and losing. And now they're starting to make money.
Sure.
They're starting to be more popular. They're starting to it's all about the TV contracts.
Yep.
And right now, XFL is already going to be on the big networks, the 4-letter network, ABC, so they're going to get their exposure, and they're going to take a loss for a few years. So I think the support of Vince McMahon really this time rather than last time, putting the money behind it, kind of waiting out the storm. And the second part is they need to co-align with the NFL.
Sure.
I was talking with my dad about this, and rather than being a separate entity, why can't it be a
farm club
or a G League or a place for college players? I don't think are going to want to leave to go to the XFL because they're about to start making money.
Places for the NFL to farm out new rules and things of that nature and see how they work.
Well,
ex-NFL.
Their commissioner is Oliver Luck, who's former NFL player and Andrew Luck's dad.
Yep.
And he was talking in an interview today about how the players are under contract, but they're going to encourage players that get offers at the end of their season, go to a training camp. Their season ends before the NFL OTAs, organized team activities, starts. So these guys are going to be lined up in it. According to the calendar, it lines up perfectly. Yeah. Now, what you're going to see a lot is, like you said, Vince McMahon's got to put the money up for a long period of time, because what's really going to make the XFL popular is 3, 4, 5 years from now, when you start seeing players in the NFL that had their start in the XFL, people are going to be more interested to find that next player in the same way that college football now is exciting, because you want to see, when's this guy going to make the next move? So I think that's where the excitement's going to be.
Or if you've ever watched, on Netflix, they have Last Chance U, and Last Chance U is all about JUCO football and all these rejects, the worst of the worst, the life lessons that they had to learn and the mistakes that they made, and, getting that second chance. And, that's the brand of the XFL, is if you can do that. And like Mike was talking about, build the farm system and coexist, you will succeed, but you cannot try to compete.
No,
If you try to
you'll die.
compete, you will get smushed.
Yep.
That's just how it happens. So, good topic.
Twist topic number 2.
Numero dos.
Numero dos.
We did touch on a lot of this with our
Yeah,
first
yeah.
interview, Joe Nelson, but the Timberwolves were active before the trade deadline. What really stood out to you guys?
What I thought was funny was when they showed all the players with their jerseys.
Yeah.
And
All
the people-
42,000 of them?
What
Yeah.
was funny about it, because my first thought was, can I name the players that were on the roster last week that are still on the roster now? The players that weren't on this thing.
Right.
And then now, who of all these players is still going to be on the roster next October,
Sure.
November, at the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
So what I think is so fascinating, we were talking about it with Joe Nelson a little bit, but it's way too early to speculate. I want to know how many of these guys were taken as trade bait for the offseason or salary cap purposes for the offseason to bring in guys like Booker or, those next pieces that D'Lo and Cat are going to be playing with for the next 5 to 7 years.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's impressive. They have this new slogan. It's what is it? Trust the process.
Rosas?
For him, so the
I like it.
process. It's cool. I'm just glad he got D'Lo. That's what this whole thing was about. When they got rid of Rocco and I saw what they got in return, I was like, well, does that mean we're not going to get him?
Yeah.
And was this all for nothing? And you even saw Cat,
Pissed.
he's pissed.
Twist.
He let go on social media of that picture of Drake, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he expressed how sad he was and how he stayed up so late and he couldn't sleep because his best friend at the time, Rocco, was traded. And then all of a sudden you get the news that D'Lo's coming and he's looking down, Cat's looking down at his phone just smiling because it finally happened. And then you see D'Lo expressing like how this is like a movie, and how this stuff usually doesn't happen to people like him, where it all works out. Rosas really hammering in like we didn't go get any other point guard because we wanted this point guard. That's awesome, man. And hopefully you can see how the city and the state of Minnesota is really rallying behind D'Lo. And that's what a guy like that needs, because when his support, he flourishes, and that's what it's going to be huge. So good for them, man. I'm excited about it. I'm more excited about the team. I hope they continue to lose, though.
I trust the process. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's a good
The
one.
process.
You like that?
Well, I mentioned it before. I'm not used to being a Minnesota fan. The head of your team actively making moves like this.
Yeah.
And when he came in, we signed some guys, and on 1 year kind of prove it deals, as they like to say.
Sure.
And we got rid of all those guys. I mean, we got rid of everybody. Benz likes to say shuffling the deck. We played 52 card pickup, and kept 2 cards and basically got a whole new deck. We were sick of that deck. So it could blow up in his face. It all really depends on the draft.
Yeah.
We got to hit. I think the Nets will make the playoffs, so I think we'll keep that draft pick. They're in the 7th seed right now. I just think we'll get that pick. So you got to hit on that one too.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll already be in a lottery pick. I don't think that they'll use that as trade bait. We're low on picks the next year. Obviously, we got rid of them unless we suck again and get a top 3 and we can keep it. So I'm trusting the process. We're going to see. I'm excited. D'Lo had to do it. I've touched on this numerous times outside of the show. The 3 of Booker, D'Lo, and Karl Anthony Towns were on Slam magazine on the cover last
Gentlemen's Club.
October. And they said the next time we're on this cover, it's going to be together.
Yep.
2/3 of the way there.
2/3. And so you had to do it.
Yep.
You got D'Lo. You got Karl. You don't think Booker's in Arizona? Like, where's my jacket? Where's my jacket? I don't need all this sun. Whoo, let's go.
Twist topic number 3.
Numero tres.
What were the Cavs thinking, taking Andre Drummond for scraps on his expiring contract when he will most undoubtedly leave?
I texted you guys. I didn't understand it because all we were talking about for the past couple of weeks was how Detroit was the type of team that wanted to rebuild, get rid of their guys. And all I kept thinking was, oh, everything that they're saying about Detroit applies to Cleveland too.
Sure.
So why would Cleveland take that on when they already have guys like Kevin Love that have contracts that you can't get rid of? Now, granted, Drummond's gone after this year. He's a free agent. He's going to go wherever he wants. Great, good for you. But it didn't seem like you brought in things that would help you long term. I couldn't figure it out.
They sent him from a worse city in Detroit to a more worse in Cleveland. He must have pissed somebody off, slept with the coach's wife or something.
No, I just think that it was strictly for short-term ticket sales, man. At least you got a guy in Drummond who some people are going to want to come and see. I mean, it's not similar to Timberwolves because we have D'Lo for a long period of time, but also at least you're going to sell some tickets. You're going to fill some seats this season because as the Wolves were going, nobody was going to see them.
No, we were lowest in the NBA.
So you get a little excitement in that aspect of a new guy coming in for a short period of time. Hopefully you try to get people in the seats so he wants to stay, which he won't. But you can go out on a limb and try to, show him the beautiful city of Cleveland.
Maybe LeBron's coming.
Cleveland!
Yeah, right.
Twist topic number 4.
Numero cuatro.
Quattro. I was waiting for Greg. Come on. Jeez. So who was the biggest winner in the NBA trade deadline? Which team took the cake?
I think what was the biggest winner was, the Clippers getting Morris, but I thought what was more apparent was Milwaukee and the Lakers not doing anything. And the Lakers, the two teams that are in the number one spots right now, not doing anything by the trade deadline. I thought that was more interesting, but I thought that Morris going to the Clippers was them saying, we're in it.
It's huge.
Yeah.
He's a 20 points a game player. To add that to a championship roster.
Sure. And I mean, I'm going to be biased and I'm going to say the T-Wolves simply because you got D'Lo. You did what all the fans wanted. You got Cat a little happy and hopefully motivated because he can't play like a bum now because he's got his best buddy there watching him. And then also, I mean, just getting rid of Gorgie, getting rid of Wiggins, getting rid of, obviously, Teague early on. But you got rid of your 3 worst contracts in Timberwolves history. So you cleared that. Now it's just, what do you do next? But trust the process.
Like I was talking to Matt before the show, I thought that the best thing that could happen at Timberwolves was get rid of Wiggins' contract and bring in D'Lo. I never thought it would happen in the same
together.
Trade.
Yeah. That was the biggest prize. I talked about this. I got on the radio a couple days ago, and the biggest prize is getting rid of Wiggins.
Yeah.
We would have gave Wiggins away and draft picks just to take them, but we got D'Lo. So that was, I'm obviously on Ben's side with the Wolves, but NBA, it's win now. So obviously the Clippers were the biggest winner because they're relevant. The Timberwolves, hopefully, if you trust the process, will be at some point soon.
Twist topic number 5.
Numero 5.
The Twins were involved in a blockbuster trade.
Or were they?
That is still working itself out.
The best tweet I saw about this, dude, is where the guy's like, so do you guys remember the episode of The Office where Michael Scott has his own paper company and he's calling back these companies asking them for more money?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Boston's actually doing right now. They're saying, well, we'll take him. We'll take, the fireballer, but we want another top prospect.
Top 10 is what they're saying.
And it's like, okay, I can see why, but it's also like, do your homework, dude. Like, where are you guys going on the fly?
It shouldn't take a physical to...
And I was talking to Greg before the show, and I was saying, you got a fireballer, you're going to get injuries. That's what it's all about. You look at Chapman throughout his whole career, he's on and off. Guys that throw that hard, they're going to wear out their arms. It's not supposed to physically happen. You're not supposed to throw over 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, 21 years old, he's...
Yeah, and, that's why... If it doesn't go through, okay, we'll take him back, obviously. That's tough, too, though, because now you got a guy that was like, you guys just tried to get rid of me, and now I got to come back into your clubhouse. It is what it is, man.
Yeah, from the Twins' perspective, what I thought was the best about the other two teams, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, they're always involved in big trades. Usually Boston not from this end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're getting rid of someone to not get something huge back. But from the Twins' perspective, what I thought was so great about it, even if the deal falls through, what you told your fans is you're willing to get involved in these types of trades and get players. So it's kind of like, taking your wife to shop for a new car, tell her you're going to get a new car and the car's not available, but now she knows that you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. And I mean, also they were saying on the Four Letter Network this morning, they're talking about how the MLB Player Association is getting involved now because you got these guys that are in limbo. They're sitting there and they're like, what do me and my family need to be doing right now? Do I need to be looking for a home in California, or do I need to be, staying put? Are we working on this? What's going on? There should never be a trade that's in limbo for this long. It's not fair to the players. And then you hear about people around the league, and especially on Twitter, they're talking about how, Minnesota's the issue. They should have been open and honest. It's like, how weren't they?
Yeah.
A Tommy John surgery is in the medical records, and things of that nature. Obviously, it has to do with Boston wanting more.
Yeah.
If you want more and it's not going to happen, just say it's not going to happen.
The fact that the Players Association is in it is a crock of ugh.
Yeah.
What a bunch of whiny babies. You're sitting in your $1 million mansions.
Sure.
It's not even the season. It's nothing. Just sit still and shut up.
Hot take.
God. Well, thank you to Joe Nelson of Bring Me the News. Thank you to Michael Bennett, both of our guests. Episode 10 of Twist. Tune in next week for an interview with Jamie Watson, Minnesota United FC. Thanks again. Peace.